think so.
All right, let's start over here on the right. Nicole Sheeran, Adam King. Which one would like to see?
You go first. Coach, what is it about Julian Sayin that really jumps out to you now that he is officially the starter?
Yeah, I think he's done a good job of, being consistent with taking care of the football. I think he's done a really good job of giving guys opportunity to make plays. And I think it's just the body of work. It's not, one play here, one play there that ultimately decides that really important decision. I think it's just been the work as a whole. And I think that he's just, again, not that anyone wasn't, he just was very consistent. Communication was really, really well done. And I think he, really did a good job through camp. So, yeah, I'm really happy for him and excited that he's one of ours.
Second row right, Stefan Kreisky.
Where have you kind of seen Julian grow? Brian Day talks a lot about command of the huddle, leadership, things like that. Where have you seen him progress the most this offseason?
That was a big part of it. I think command and earning the respect of your peers, and ultimately the locker room always knows. I mean, it doesn't matter what you may think, but the locker room, knows the reality. So just, building that camaraderie, I think body of work, and earning the respect of your peers and the trust of your peers and that all of that. Sometimes it's just the lack of opportunities or lack of reps to really be able to build that. So you just need time. Sometimes you can't, fake time. So it's just, how he works in the off season, how you work during camp, how you communicate with guys. Everything's such a microscope, under a microscope. It's not just one thing. So if you just enhance one little piece, it'll get pointed out. You got to be able to grow in all facets. And I think that, he's done that since the day he got here to where he's at now.
I don't know if there's a lot of times in college football where you see two coaches work side by side for as long as you and Ryan have been together. In the 7 years you guys have now been together and working, what have you learned from him that makes it feel like you're ready now to take over this offense and be its play caller?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've been with Ryan, the whole time, and even more than that in my head, right? I mean, as an intern, I was trying to absorb as much as I could. Didn't know what I didn't know, but to pinpoint one thing, again, that would just be very shallow. So, I think everything I do and operate is in resemblance of him. I think that I really appreciate the way he goes about, the way he works and the way he is deliberate and the way he communicates. Offensive mind, I don't know if anybody can catch up to him. He's one heck of an offensive mind, so I'm just trying to absorb as much as possible all the time. Ultimately, I don't, choose, if I'm, quote unquote ready or not. Just the guy I looked up to does, and that's where I go with it. So, for me, I don't want to let him down. I don't want the team down. So we've been working our tails off. Feel like we're really well prepared, but we still got a lot of time and a lot of opportunity to grow from game one, how important that is, even throughout the season. So I just, recall back even from last year how much growth we even had from even game one through the whole process. So never a final destination, just a constant chase of more and more growth, more knowledge, more I can do this better, and that's kind of what we just have done.
Had the biggest influence on how you, view football?
Yeah, I think definitely from this perspective. I think I have a lot of, past respect, current respect from Coach Hazel, who I was here, my receivers coach, and I had great influences when I got a chance to play in the NFL for a little while. So not just to peg it into one, but from this perspective, from where I stand right now, absolutely, there's no doubt. And, I'm blessed by it.
What did Brandon Ennis do to earn himself captaincy of his team?
Well, I didn't vote, but I would say that I'm sure, again, it came down to the consistency of how he operates, the consistency of how he communicates. I think the frequency of who he is. I think to be a captain, again, the same kind of thing. It doesn't just happen even in 1 year. I think it can be a big impact. But he's been connecting with guys since the moment he's been here. So for him to do what he did his first year, I think last year to fill the role that he had at the highest level he could possibly do says a lot about the individual. Made plays in big moments. And then to carry that into the offseason, I think that's probably what earned the respect of his peers. And so we have some great guys on this team. For him to earn that in his third year says a lot about him, too. And so he's going to, carry a lot of weight, and he's going to be one of those leaders, and there'll be tough times. But he'll thrive in those times. But I'm glad he's with us, and I'm very proud that he was selected by his teammates to be a captain.
How much pride do you take in the fact that, Emeka, Brandon, Cam Babb, Xavier Johnson, you guys have had a lot of captains in that receiver room recent years? Yeah,
I think that we've been blessed with that. I think it comes down to the type of individual, right? We had a lot of great players in that room, but Chris and Emeka and Cam Babb and Xavier Johnson and the list goes on. And they're not always per se the most productive, per se from a stat perspective, but the impact they have on individuals in the locker room, it measures much more than just some stats on a sheet. A lot of guys have stats, but how you make people feel and how you enhance individuals is just a whole nother appreciation. I think that you don't really realize until you get older, but they already see that as a young man, and they're impacting their teammates. Shoot, they're impacting me. So we're definitely blessed to have those guys here.
Yeah, just wanted to ask about Mylan Graham, where he's at, and obviously coming off a lot of momentum this spring, being maybe that fourth guy in the rotation. Just where is he at?
Yeah, Mylan, is continuing to grind. I think that just like anything, if you asked him, he wants to be the best receiver in the room, and until he is that, he's not going to be happy with it. So, I think that he's just continuing to chase the consistency level that which requires that. Again, you guys know that. I know I'm like a broken record, but that ultimately is what dictates how everyone in the room can make the play. And it comes down to how often. Like, that's how you separate yourself. If you couldn't make the play, you probably wouldn't be in the room. So, again, we're not here to be good. We're here to be like the best in the country. That's the expectation, which is, they all know that, but it's just a good reminder, like, where you at? Where do you want to be? Are you there yet? That's what we're chasing. So he's doing a good job. He's staying hungry, and he's continuing to try to bring it every day.
Brian, what are some of the ways that you challenge Carnell to kind of take that next step coming off of last season, and what have you made of his camp thus far? Yeah,
we've had conversations on our own, but I think that, frankly, it was, Carnell kind of turned the switch on his own. He's a self-driven individual, and I think he identified maybe when Emeka left that there was going to be a potential void from a leadership standpoint. He just grabbed it by the wings and went with it. And so, the way he's grown, the way he operates now is significantly ahead of even last year. And he was already, more of a pro, more of an older soul. But I think he's just taken it to a whole other level. So between him and Brandon and Jeremiah and the other guys in the room, they're really stepping up from a communication standpoint and a standard standpoint and energy standpoint. They've done a really good job following in the steps of Emeka, and I've been really impressed with Carnell's leadership qualities and how he's chosen to take that step. It'll be vital to have that all year.
Brian, in your experience as a wide receiver, when a quarterback is named, how long do you think you need to get that rhythm? Obviously, they've been throwing with them a lot, but now having QB1, does that help, especially as you head into a game like you guys have week 1?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that definitely, having that true competition like that brought out the best in both guys. And, we were in one, and those guys did a great job with it. So a lot of respect for both of those guys. We were building a lot of chemistry through that process anyways, with the amount of guys working with both those guys. So, I don't know. I think that there's always a growth. I don't think it was not slowed by any means. But you grow throughout the year, right? You're going to have your Ohio State version 1, and you're going to have your Ohio State version 13. And if it doesn't enhance, you're going to find yourself getting caught up against a wall. And so we're going to enhance, chemistry-wise, scheme-wise, growth-wise as individuals, all those things. I don't think a competition slows that by any means. I think we feel really good about it. Those guys have great chemistry with both guys. And, I think we'll just continue to keep pushing forward. So no, I don't see that playing an impact. Yeah.
Ryan, do you think you'll be in the press box or on the field on game day, and what would be the pros and cons as you weigh that sort of decision with you and Coach Day?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've had conversations about it, but final decision hasn't been made. It just kind of comes down to where we think we can both be most organized and communicate, most efficiently. So whatever that is, conversations being had, but no final decision on any of that kind of stuff right now.
Whether playing or coaching on the field for most of your life,
Yeah.
do you think you could be comfortable up there?
Yeah, I'll make anything work. I'm not concerned about that. Just focused on, whatever we can do to put ourselves in position best for the players and find ourselves, again, being able to communicate at a high level, being organized at a high level, so we can, try to execute at the highest level. That's really my main concern.
Brian, when you guys brought Max Clare in, it kind of seemed like he was a weapon that you guys could use a lot. What have you seen from him as you guys have started to put this offense in that makes you think that he can do some pretty good things in this offense?
Yeah, I think Max definitely has put in the work. I think that he is trying to grow his game in every way he can. He wants to be more than just a receiving tight end. Excuse me. So he's putting in the work with Coach Bailey. It's really showing up. I think that I think he's in a good spot, and a lot of guys respect his work ethic, and it's just going to come down to continually be one of those guys week in and week out. And I feel like the guys have taken him in. I think that he's pretty comfortable here, and now it's just about continuing to put it on the field. I think we saw what he's capable of. We saw what he did last year, and we're just blessed to have him in this locker room. So we got to make sure we're finding good ways to have him involved, and then ultimately it comes down to him executing at a high level. So, but he's definitely becoming more of a multifaceted kind of guy and can definitely do it all.
Time for three more. We'll start with Lord Bidwell.
You were the offensive coordinator a couple years ago. We're not the play caller now. You're going to be with a game like Texas and all that comes with that. What's your thought process on? Yes, I'm really going to be calling the plays, and how much are you going to work with Ryan? I'm sure he'll be giving you a lot of input. Have you kind of worked that out at this point?
Yeah, I mean, Coach is always going to have lots of input. That's been like that for 8 years, but I think we work well together. I think we communicate well together. I think that we're not, we won't get our feelings hurt in any kind of way, that kind of thing. But no, I'm excited for it. I mean, it's a great opportunity. Again, I love, being able to game plan and trying to put our guys in best position to be successful. And I take it very seriously to, provide the right calls, right, fits, right, number counts, like everyone's accounted for, all those things. And, hopefully not one thing's ever overlooked. So, no, really, obviously really excited about it, but I'm kind of way past that. I'm just kind of focused on maximizing, the opportunity at the highest level and making sure I don't let anybody down, especially the players, in any kind of way.
Second row to the right, Steve Elwagen.
Hey, Coach. Quincy Porter lost his black stripe, I think, back in the spring, if I'm correct. And how close is he maybe to getting on the field? And then Phillip Bell, Bodpin Miller, just where things have kind of stood with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think that freshman class, frankly, has done a good job. I think Quincy did a good job through spring. Has to keep building through fall camp and has to continue to build through the season to see exactly what role he can carve out for himself. But he definitely, obviously, the black stripe is no joke. So for him to earn that says a lot from the get go. Those other guys, Phillip Bell's doing a really good job, and Dez and Bodpin's doing a really good job. It's just they're all kind of on their own path, though, and so just trying to find, where exactly their role could be this year. Everyone's got a role. Every role is critical, but I'm really been pretty content with where they're at, but can always be better, right? And it probably could have been worse, but it wasn't worse. But they can always do more, always be more. And so now they're just trying to outline whether it be special teams roles, whether it be even a scout team, how important that is, whether it's running with the ones, whatever that is, they do it at a high level. At this point, in my mind, they're not young guys anymore. You've been here since January. I have a 7, 8-year-old, like the amount he can comprehend in a month, I'm like, okay, you're a little older than him. We're way past like being new, like so. I'm not tolerating like the confusion in any kind of light. So, and they know that, which they're rolling though. I mean, they're doing some good things, but they can never do it well enough, consistently enough until they do. So we're going to keep chasing that at the very highest level.
Brian, compared to when you first were named OC 2 years ago and, working with Chip last year, where do you feel like the biggest areas of improvement you've made or kind of learned in the last 2-3 years of this process?
Certain area, man. I mean, again, I think that the amount of different scheme and perspective that, Chip was able to bring in was a blessing. The way he operated was different. Like, so, I think that although there's a lot of similarities because of the past history between Coach and Chip, it was obviously different. Chip's a different kind of personality, and it was awesome. So I think just the perspective on, there's obviously the right way to do things and there's a bad way to do things, but there is multiple ways to do things, and you have to make sure we're communicating to make sure it's still good. We're definitely only as good as the collective, though. I mean, don't take that for granted. Like, the staff we have is second to none. The strength is because of the staff. It's not any individual, and we have a pretty tight group that's had a lot of football together on this staff. So I've been really excited about how we've built this thing, and brick by brick started in the spring and where we're at now here in the fall. And we have to make sure we're on our toes so we can continue to add to those bricks and enhance week in and week out, because that's really the name of the game. So my growth individually, everything. To pinpoint one individual area, I think would be a little short-sighted. But I think that from communication to game prep to how maybe even Chip call sheets and how he operated. I'm learning everything. So I absorb, I try to apply, and then and grow from there.
Working with Matt, who tried to stud you twice a year when you were in Miami, to now working with him?
I think he did a decent job then. I'm trying to think. I might have scored a couple times, but we still lost, so that didn't work. But no, Matt's been awesome to work with. I think he's an open book. So just even situationally, like, hey, what are you thinking here in this situation? And what is some perspective? Because frankly, he then went and called plays for Coach Belichick. It sounds like, obviously offensively for a year. So he's got one heck of a perspective. So to not use that book of knowledge would be a mishap by us. So we've definitely done that, and he's awesome to be around.
Coach, thank you.
Thanks, guys.